And by using these two buttons, we want to switch fragment, demo fragment, and work fragment inside of this view. So I give you 5 minutes to follow up. Then we will do a very important function called fragment. We create a space. So that's a linear layout. The linear layout we create is between the title bar and the toolbar. So that's a space. So we want to put fragment in this space. So that's why. So that's the ID. That's the ID for that space. Then that's a fragment we want to put it in. So that's why we use the replace method to put the fragment inside the layout. Then the commit means commit the change to the screen. Then after the commit, then you can see the screen will show. I have to start over. Then the fragment will put it in the layout. So each time we use dot, then a dot method after one dot method, this is called chain programming. And how to do that? So actually you can, whenever you want to make a setting for your application, you can do the chain programming. So we can go to the source code, get a support fragment manager. So when we call this method, it will return you a fragment manager. And if we click the replace button, also it return your fragment transaction. So after you call that method, we return you a fragment transaction. Then you can call the method belong to the fragment transaction. Then after the begin transaction, also return your fragment transaction, then you can call the dot replace. So this method is belong to the returned object. You know what I mean? So every time if you want to create a chain programming, you can always return object. Then you can use dot method by following the call method.
What
you see? So we can see the demo fragment already appear in the screen. So if we want to switch demo fragment and work fragment by using these two buttons, so what should we do? So what should we do? If I click work button, yeah, we have to do the logic inside the onClick listener. Then inside, if we click the demo button, we have to also use the same method, but the layout, fragment layout. So instead, if we click the demo button, we put demo fragment in. Then we copy it and paste it to work button. So it's work fragment. It's the same layout, but different fragment. It depends on which button you clicked. Arrow, where's the arrow? No arrow. Then run. So if I click the work button, it switches to work fragment, which is with the background, green background. If I click demo button, it will switch to red, then it switches demo fragment. So the other question, if I want to, so this is called list view. So if I want to add the list view, so where should I put the list view?
As the default.
It's a default, but it's so which class I should put it in? Not main.
Does it change like when you press the button? So it would be under the
Yeah, so because you want to put the list view inside here, so currently it's demo fragment, which appears demo fragment. So we can put the list view in demo fragment. Click all the items. If we put the list view inside the demo fragment, it will appear here because it shows demo fragment. So that's why we go to fragment demo. That's the layout file for the demo. Then we change it to list view. To mark it, we change the list view has a background red. So I delete the background of the fragment layout, but I put a background for the list view. So if the list view appear, then that means the red appear, that means the list view already inside the activity. So the red color means the list view already appear inside the activity that through the fragment. So that's how applications switch different view inside one activity. And if you don't do that part, like this one, so the difference between the switch fragment and switch activity is usually if we go to the other activity, you can see animation. So the animation is default added by the SDK, by the Android system. But if we switch the fragment, it is no animation. But you can add animation to any component. So I will show later in our animation class. And we get a list view. So next step is we have to add content to the list view. So we go to demo fragment, close all unnecessary files. And if you want, this is called a depth pattern. So it's a design pattern. If you want to add many things to a list view, for example, if you want to add 100 items in one list view, so you cannot do like one by one, create one item, then the other item. You want the list view do it automatically, right? So the system uses adapter. But before we do that adapter, we create a list security private list, make it public. Public list, and we just put a string in it. List equal to new relist. And inside the constructor, we add content to the list. Oh, sorry. So this is not mandatory, but in Java, as a Java developer, the variable should start with lowercase. So that's a common sense. So a variable and the method name should start with lowercase. And if you want to create a method with some meaning, then you can put as many words as you want. You don't need to worry about how it's too long for a method name. So as long as you can get clear the meaning of the function of the method, you can put as many words as you want. So whenever we want to use the method, we can use IDE auto suggestion. So to help your group mate to understand your method, you can put many words. And for each word, start with capital, but the first letter should be lowercase. That's a common rule in the Java world. But for a class, it's start with the capital letter. So that's the difference between a class name, a method name, and variable name. And that list, we can add a list to, we add more, like, because it's the first class, I just add A, B, C, D. B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now we have the list. Then we start to create an adapter for the list view. We first finish the function, then I will show you the logic, then I'll introduce the logic. Demo fragment. Demo list view. Okay, let's create the other folder. So in your project folder, we create a new package. We call it adapter package. Because if you use many adapters in your project, so usually we create a folder to control all the adapters. Then, so when you create a new activity and a fragment, you can choose it from here. So if you create fragment from here, it will automatically add the superclass for you. But if you use create a class by use Java class, first step is give name. We call it main list. So it's a class. Start with capital main list adapter. And the superclass, we use base adapter. Am I right? Yeah, base adapter. Then the superclass is base adapter. Then click OK. So you have a base adapter. You can see an arrow here. Then use auto suggestion to fix it. So it will pop up a window, give you suggestions. To then choose implement methods. Then choose all the first 4 methods. So these are all necessary methods for an adapter. We can see 4 methods here. The getCount method is return how many items inside this list view. So this adapter is for the list view. So this getCount method decides how many items inside the list view. And getItem and getItem ID, you can define a function by yourself. But normally for a simple list view, we don't need these 2 methods. And getView is for current item. Let's switch to. So the logic is when you scroll the list view, the system will build item one by one as the order. our eye cannot see it because it's very fast, but the item do create one by one, and this is a zero item, to start with 0. So when the system create a view for this, so the first it will call get count, so that's one time. Then we will return the number. If we return 10, then the item has 10 items, and for that means the system will call getView 10 times. And for the first time, the position is 0. And you are the developer, so you have to return the view should appear at the 0 position. Then the system will call getView again, but position is 1. So you have to return the view for the 1 position. So the system gives you an adapter, but you decide what view should appear for each item. But you don't need to create, because in the list view, you have the same pattern. You just change the text. So you can return the view, but according to the position, you just give different text. So I'll show you, and let me show you how to do that. So that's the main list adapter. Then we create a new use command or control and plus n for Windows and command plus n for Mac. Then constructor, choose constructor. So in this constructor, you can put a list, so string list. Then this list equal to list. Okay, a question for Java. Why I use this dot list equal to list?
Because list and passing is the same as so they're the same name, but they're list and passing is from list class.
Yeah, if you learn PLC, then you will understand. So one variable has a scope. So this list is inside this method. So the scope is just inside this method, the constructor. So after the constructor, you cannot use the list. But if you pass this list to a field has the scope of the whole class. So we pass the content to this adapter, then we can use the list in other method. And when system call getCount method, it will return the size of the list. So the system will know how many items should appear in the list view. And let's return an empty view, a text view equal to new text view. And this text view is a local variable text view. Then, so when you create, so one way to create a view is inside the layout file. But we can also use Java code to create a text view, an image view, or a button. We don't suggest you to do that because we want to keep consistency for our project. So all the view is created inside the layout file. But to show you different styles, I give you example here. But in your final project, I don't suggest you to do that. But in iOS, if in the future, if you develop an iOS application, so I do suggest you to create all the views by using code. Because personally, I don't like the design interface, the view design interface in iOS, in Xcode, because you have to drag and set a setting like we do in the design mode. You can, their storyboard cannot let you to use code to design the views, but
No, I was going to finish, but I was just going to say that you can implement IB design
can you use code to design
in the storyboard. Yes.
in a storyboard?
Yeah, if you implement IB design tool,
But
with the IB design annotation, you can write the code,
mhm.
and the views will pop up. It's like a real-time auto compilation, kind of like the R class.
So they design like layout file. So if you can use some code to design the, so you don't need to do in the programming part.
Correct.
Okay, so that's. Do you know when they introduced this new design?
That was, I mean, I've been doing that for about 3 years now, so.
But
It's
into
been, you can have done it in Objective-C, but you can also do it in Swift. So it was like a primary feature. It wasn't.
But like 2 years ago, when I built my iOS project, so I cannot use code to design view inside the storyboard. So I have to drag and give a setting for it. So, but because I get used to the layout file like code like this, so I prefer to use code to design the views like this one. But I can use third-party library to give setting for this by using code. But now maybe they already designed the concept, the coding concept for the storyboard. So that's interesting. Then, okay, I will try in after class. So actually, 2 years ago, the big company had two part. One part like use storyboard to design the interface, but the other part like I forgot maybe the Facebook they like to use pure code to design the interface. So here, if you want to use Java code to create the view, so you have to use a context. So if we need the context, we have to pass the context through the constructor. So there's a context. Then this dot context equal to context. Then create field context. So the context here, then we can use context. Because we put a context as a parameter, that means the text view it belongs to this context. Then we can set the content dot set string set text, and the text is the list dot get position, and we return this text view. I'll convert view. So convert. The view has to set a place for it. So I forgot that part. So that's a convert thing. Okay. So the logic is we have to create a layout file for the item inside the list view. So we go to our layout folder, we create a new layout resource file, and it's an item list view and main. And change it to retail layout. Because this layout is not a screen-wide layout, so we have to set the size width is we use max parent, but for each item we want to appear like 80 dp. Then we create a text view inside it with max warp content, and the position in the center in parent equal true. Then we also set ID plus ID as a main adapter, then text view. The difference between a layout adapter and a activity is inside the main activity, we already has a method called setContentView, and you can map the layout file to the activity. But in an adapter, it is a pure Java class, and you have to use layout inflator. So we have a context, and the context use the getSystem service method to call getSystem method to get an inflator, and the parameter is context dot layout inflator service. So that's a service name. I use the context layout inflator service to get an inflator. And by use the inflator, we can locate the layout, then use the text view inside the layout. Create object inflator is then by using the inflator, we can inflator then layout inflator. So the inflator is a layout inflator, so you have to define it as a layout inflator. Then so here's the Java question. So what's the bracket and layout inflator inside? What's this part mean? Yeah, because the get system service only return object. So because you are use the static keywords layout inflator to get back layout inflator. So you have to cast the object to a layout inflator. Then you can use the method of layout inflator. Then we return the layout. Oh, sorry. Use the inflator to inflate method. So like this, get view by ID. We want to find the r.layout layout inflate. We don't have R here. Import R dot that's item list view name. Then convert the to parent class. This method needs three I think this is one. Okay. So the two necessary parameter here. One is the layout ID. Then the other one is the parent group. It's a view group. It's parent. Then after we get the convert view, I remember I can just create a view, then give it back. So it works in my old version, but I'm not sure. But in here, I think we have to the text view. You have to find it in the text view. You have to find it. You have to find the convert view dot find view by ID. Then we give ID to the text view inside the layout file here. That's the ID for the text view. R.id. So inside the getView method, we first use inflator to find the layout, then map it to the convert view. The convert view, the first time the system call the getView method, the convert view equal to none. It's empty, nothing in it. So it's a non-object. So we convert, so we use inflator to map a layout file to the convert view. Then we find the text view by use find view by ID, and give the words we want to appear in the list view in this item to the text view. Then return the convert view. After we return the convert view will store in the memory. Then the second time the system call the getView method, the system will give you the convert view back. So the second time the convert view is not none.
keep passing the same code.
Yeah. Then after each time update the converter view, then it will the same time it will return you to update the converter view. Then that's the adapter. So we go back to demo fragment. So we already have our adapter. Then we use constructor to create this. Okay. How can I That's adapter. Adapter need two parameter context and list. So if we create adapter equal to new main list adapter, then two parameter context, we use get context, then the list. Then adapter create a field, the main list adapter. In the demo fragment. List view. Okay, same to the adapter inside a fragment. We also use the inflator to map the layout to the fragment. But the difference is the fragment on the uncreated view already give you the inflator. You don't need to find it, get it by yourself. So the view v equal to the inflator. Then we can use this view to find the list view. So a list view equal to view dot find view by ID, and the list view's ID is okay. We don't have ID, so we set an ID for the list view is in main demo list view. Then create a field for the list view. Then we set adapter for this list view. The adapter and the return view. The view is appear inside the fragment. And by using inflator, we map the layout fragment demo layout to the current fragment. Then use find view by ID, find the list view inside the fragment layout, then set adapter for the list view. So when I run it, the application crashed. So that's a main problem when you develop your own project. So now I want to show you how to debug if your application crashed. So by the way, it's too long ago. So currently I'm not sure which part I have a problem, but the IDE didn't throw any errors. So we don't have grammar mistakes, but we do have some logic problem in this project. That's why if I click run, then you can see this application has stopped. That means the application crashed. But do not click OK. Just go back to your application, then click Logcat. You will find the message, the red color message. So that's the error name caused your application crash. So the no pointer exception is very normal exceptions. Then if you have other exceptions, you can copy the error name, the exception name, then Google it, why it happened. Then the last line about the blue word is the location where the exception appear. So if you click it, it will go to here. That means the demo fragment is none. It's not created by the constructor. Then we go to demo fragment. So that's the line caused the demo fragment in not construct. Then we have to find out the problem inflator context. So if you're not sure about which part is wrong, you can add a breakpoint. So you add a breakpoint by click the left side, then you can see a red dot here. So it's two ways to start a debug. You can debug from start over by use the debug app button, a bug with a play. Then use this button. So the application will start with the debug mode, and it will stop at this line. You can see the context is none. So that's why we receive a non-pointer exception. And the other way to start a debug is, for example, because the debug mode will make the emulator slower, then if your application is very big, then you have many logic, but maybe the error just happened like in after 10 activity, you jump 10 times. So we run the application normally, and after the application is running, you can click this button. Then choose the application, then click OK. Now the application starts to debug. You don't need to debug it from the first activity. So now this context is none. So we have to get activity. Let's see which part I'm doing different. Okay. So the question is, it's about the life cycle of the fragment. Like I said, the fragment has a life cycle. So when I call the get activity or get context method, it's not in. So the fragment not related to main activity yet. because when we create it, it does not create its life cycle. So we have to move the get activity method to uncreated view. So it's adaptation not final because we have to change it. So inside uncreated view, so the system, the fragment already has its life cycle, already built its life cycle. So it already bounded this current fragment to its activity. So we can use get activity. So fragment is not a context, but activity is a context. So we have to use a get activity or get context to get the context and pass it to adapter. Now we can run it. Okay. Adapter, get context. Create a view. See adapter. Set adapter. Get adapter. Logcat caused by so inflate exception. So that's an exception name. Then that's a location. The get view adapter inflate item. Okay, I put in the wrong name because item. So that's layout. And false. This is turning out. Okay. So it's not attached to root. Then after I add this parameter attached to root to false, then we can see the A, B, C, D, E, F to H showing in the demo fragment. Then you can scroll the list view from A to H. Then, so let's do an experiment. If we change the list size to just return 4, then you can see the list view only show the first 4 items, because if this get count return the number 4, the get view only be called by 4 times. It will not initialize after D. So usually the get count usually return the list size. Okay, so I have a memory problem here. So I tell you the problem is related to the system memory. So could you find out what's the problem and how to fix it for the get view method? especially for some people have some experience in Android. So I want you to find out what the memory problem is and how to fix it. And just for the getView method, the hint is convert view will return to the first time converted is none. Then the second view you will receive a convert view. So these three lines, which line is unnecessary for every time. So the inflate is find the layout file for the view. Then you have to map the layout to the object. So this is only necessary for the first time because the converted view is none. But at the same time, the system will give you back the converted view. So you don't need to do that again. So how to avoid that? We can check if the converted view equal to none. Okay. So if the converted view is not equal to none, then we have to initialize it. If the converted view is not equal to none, then we can just directly use it. So that's then we care about the getView method because that's the method called by system too many times. Whenever you scroll it a little bit, then the system will refresh the list view, then continue call getView again and again and again. So if you have but the system only, so I change it to list view size. So when you scroll it a little bit, the system will refresh the appear items. So every time it will have to convert this layout to object, convert it again. So by using this one if sentence block, you can avoid to convert it again and again. So that means you will make your list view more smooth. So this is unnecessary, and we do have other unnecessary parts, the text view. Do we need to find it again and again by use ID?
I'm sorry?
So do we need to use the ID, find view by ID, to find the text view every time? So how to fix it?
Well, I mean, you don't have to. You can create a separate statement. You technically have already initialized it.
But if we put the text view, if we check it, for example, if the text, but this is a local variable.
Well, you have to make it a parent, a class variable. So you need to make the text view a, first of all, it needs to be camel case, but second one needs to be in the class level. And just written.
So we have the other method called convert view. Set tag. We can put text view inside the convert view. That's an object. So you can see set tag is a receive object tag. You can put anything because everything every object, every class is extended from object class. Everything in Java is object. You can put everything inside the convert view. And the text view carry with the convert view. So set tag and text view, but it only do when in the first time, which is the convert view is none. Then so if the convert view equal to none, that's the first time. So we have to inflate a convert view and create a text view. Then put the text view inside the convert view. So now currently after the if the convert view is not none, then we can get the text view out. Text view equal to text view and convert view dot get tag.
What's the quick question?
Okay.
What's the benefit of using? I understand.
I will tell you later. So I just finish it. Set text. So that is the object. The purpose is the same memory. So each time, so this is to decrease the find view by ID part. So this costs much more than the Java code because you have to access to the R, then find the view by ID, then convert it to a Java object.
No, I wasn't asking. I was going to say, I know that you can send an object inside of a view, especially if you're passing a sub-view to another view, and you would want to treat it via the tag. But what's the problem with just using the text view as a class variable as you would any other variable? Typically, when you use that tag, you're passing something to another view.
So I just want to, because this text view is always with the convert view for each item. So I want to put the text view inside the convert view. So this block is this if block only proceed one time. It's the first time when the convert view is none. Then the second time we don't need to find a view by ID. So the second time we just need to get a text view and change the content, change the text.
Right, but I think you misinterpreted my question. I'm just saying that the text view, the instance variable that you have, text view.
The text view?
No, the variable. The actual variable text view.
Okay, the text view.
Right. If you wrote that on the class, instead of making it an instance variable, if you made it a class member.
You mean create a field here?
Right.
Okay.
Right. I'm saying, why would you not do that?
Because if you always create a field inside one class, so this adapter is always there. So the Java virtual machine, the control about the radius control, about the memory control. So it's very hard to, so it will check if the variable is still usable. So for a local variable, if you don't use it anymore, you can release. But if you put a field inside the class, if the class still inside the memory, so all its variable is still inside the adapter.
Rather, you can make it as a list. I'm just saying to nil versus if you. I'm just the only point I'm trying to make or trying to understand is if you could use that tag for something else when passing, like you're passing, let's say you needed to pass something like a list or well, probably not purpose, but let's say you need to pass another UI object to another view. Or
Yeah,
some
so-
object to another view, you use the tag. And then the text view would have to be set as a class member. No?
No, so it's according to your demand. So because currently the tag is better for to store the text view. So that's for me. So because I just have a very simple list view.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so because I want to introduce, so I already have a recycle view, it's more stable than the list view, but based on what you have. So for example, if you just need to choose a string list here, you don't need to do a complex recycle view. You can just use a simple list view and add something. So if you understand the concept, you can customize the function and customize the list view for your demands.
Right.
So you don't need to do a lot of work. You have to use recycle view to bind views or other things. If you add more view here, we have to use another class view holder to hold all the text view, image view inside the item.
Right.
Then we put a view holder inside the tag. But currently, we only use the text here, so we can just hold the text view. Yeah, in the future, I will show you how to use view holder and hold many image and text view and other views inside the view holder, and we put a class in the tag. So now, for each time the system call getView, then it will not use the method called findViewBody, initialize the text view, and don't need to inflate again. So let's check if it will work right now. So you cannot find it smooth because it's not a very light list view. But the concept is by check if the cover view is null or not, you can save the memory and you can make the list view more smooth. Okay, that's for the list view. So for list view logic is the first thing is you have to decide where you put the list view. Because the container is a fragment, we have to create the list view inside the demo fragment. And the fragment belongs to the activity. Then we have to get a content for the list view. So usually the list view, if you communicate with the server, usually the list is get from a server, so pass from a server. After you get the list, you have some content, then use the list view to create an adapter. And the adapter is, after you create an adapter, then you set adapter method to set an adapter to the list view. So this method belongs to a list view. Then the adapter, after you set adapter to the list view, the system will automatically call the getCount method first. Then after the system got how many items in the list view, then it will know how many times it will call the getView method. Then for each time, it gives you position. Because also this list uses the unique, the only adapter. But it will show different content for different items because according to the position, we pass the position to the list. Then the set text will, according to the position, get the content in the list, then set the different content for different item according to the position. So this is called adapter pattern. So you can use one file to set different content for different, like 1,000 items.